Alright, hello everyone. In today's video, we're going to dive deep into Google Axion, which could be a real game changer for data centers. This ARM-based custom CPU that Google announced has really sent shockwaves through the industry, you know? We'll take a good look at why Google developed its own CPU now, from the background to the technical details, and even the impact on the future of ARM, so let's get into it. By watching this video, you'll definitely gain a deeper understanding of Axion's technology, its impact, and the future of ARM, I think. So, without further ado, let's jump right into the main topic. First off, let's start by looking at the background behind the emergence of Google Axion. Well, there are a few key reasons why Google needed to develop its own CPU. First off, it's about pursuing performance and efficiency in their data centers. Google, needed to constantly balance high performance and efficiency to support the massive services they offer globally, like their search engine and YouTube. And, you see, existing CPUs were starting to have a hard time meeting Google's demands. The second reason is about securing a competitive edge in cloud services. Google Cloud Platform, or GCP, is really battling it out with competitors like AWS and Azure. By developing their own CPU, they can offer differentiated services that others can't. This allows customers to enjoy better performance and cost-effectiveness. And the third reason is the advantage of adopting the ARM architecture. The ARM architecture, originally developed for smartphones and tablets, is very energy efficient. In data centers, where a huge number of servers are running, power consumption is a major issue. By using the ARM architecture, they can expect to achieve high performance while keeping power consumption down, So next, let's take a look at Google's position in the existing CPU market. Up until now, the data center CPU market has been almost entirely dominated by Intel and AMD's x86 architecture. Google developed Axion, based on the ARM architecture, to break this dominance, you see. The x86 architecture has matured over many years and has a rich software ecosystem. However, it has the issue of being less energy efficient compared to the ARM architecture. On the other hand, the ARM architecture has been gaining traction in the server market recently, with success stories like AWS Graviton. Google Axion is being developed to achieve even higher performance and efficiency compared to these other ARM-based CPUs. Finally, let's take a look at Google's history of hardware development and how it led to Axion. Google has been actively involved in hardware development for some time now. A particularly well-known example is the TPU, a custom chip specialized for machine learning. Axion was developed using the experience gained from the TPU as a general-purpose CPU capable of handling a wider range of workloads. Google's history of hardware development reflects their philosophy of not just creating hardware, but integrating software and hardware to achieve optimal performance. Axion is a significant step forward in furthering that philosophy, I'd say. Okay, so from here on out, let's take a closer look at what exactly Google Axion is. Well, Google Axion has three main features. First, it's based on the ARM architecture. Because it's designed based on the power-efficient ARM architecture, it's expected to deliver higher performance with more efficient power consumption compared to traditional x86 CPUs. Second, it's a CPU that Google designed itself. By designing its own CPU optimized for its data center workloads, it's possible to achieve high performance for specific applications and differentiate its cloud services. And third, it's optimized for data centers. It's designed to meet the diverse needs of data centers, such as cloud services and large-scale data processing, and is expected to contribute to improved performance and cost reduction for cloud services, including GCP. Okay, next, let's take a look at the technical details of Axion. The specific technical specifications of Axion haven't been fully released yet, but here's a summary of the information that is currently known. First, let's talk about the architecture. Axion is developed based on the Arm architecture, which uses a RISC instruction set architecture. The Arm architecture has a simpler instruction set compared to the x86 architecture, and it's, quotes, more power efficient. Next, let's look at the CPU core configuration. It's believed that Axion is equipped with cores that Google has customized based on Arm's latest Neoverse cores. This enables advanced parallel processing and efficient power management. And then, there's the optimization through custom design. Axion ISN, just based on the Arm architecture. It's custom designed to meet Google's needs. This makes it possible to significantly improve performance in specific workloads. For example, it may have dedicated hardware to accelerate machine learning workloads or optimizations to speed up network processing. Furthermore, the manufacturing process is also important. It's highly likely that it uses the latest manufacturing process technologies, such as 5 nanometers or 4 nanometers processes, which enables miniaturization and high density of transistors, achieving both performance and power efficiency. As for basic specs, its kernel is expected to have multiple cores, a high clock frequency, and a large cache memory, but the specific numbers haven't been released yet. As for performance goals, Google has announced that Axion will achieve a significant performance improvement compared to traditional x86 CPUs. Specific numbers haven't been released yet, but it's been suggested that it may deliver more than twice the performance in certain workloads. And then, there's power efficiency. Axion is designed to maximize the power efficiency that, quotes, a strength of the Arm architecture. This is expected to significantly reduce power consumption in data centers and contribute to reducing environmental impact. Okay, next, let's take a look at how it compares to traditional CPUs. The introduction of Axion could significantly change the CPU market for data centers. First, let's compare it to x86 CPUs. Compared to x86 CPUs, which have been the mainstream in data centers, such as Intel Xeon and AMD EPYC, Axion is expected to have an advantage in power efficiency. Also, it's been suggested that it may outperform x86 CPUs in terms of performance in certain workloads. Next, let's compare it to other ARM-based CPUs. Compared to other ARM-based CPUs, such as AWS Graviton, a major difference is that Axion is a custom chip designed by Google itself. This makes it possible to achieve high performance optimized for Google's workloads and differentiate it from competitors. The biggest advantage of Axion is that it's CACUS, designed by Google to be optimized for its own workloads. This is expected to deliver higher performance and efficiency than existing general-purpose CPUs in specific applications. Regarding performance improvements, Google is conducting various benchmark tests to evaluate Axion, quotes, performance. The results of these tests will be an important indicator of how much Axion's performance has improved compared to existing CPUs. Specific benchmark test results haven't been released in detail at the time of the announcement, but Google claims that Axion will deliver significantly higher performance than existing CPUs. In particular, it quotes expected to deliver significantly higher performance than existing CPUs in workloads such as machine learning training and inference, database processing, and web servers. Finally, let's talk about security features. Google Axion has enhanced security measures at the hardware level. For example, it may have various security features, such as secure boot, encryption acceleration, and memory protection features. These security features reduce security risks in data centers and protect customer data. Especially in cloud services, security is a top priority, so hardware-level security measures are very important. Google Axion also enhances data protection features, and it may have encrypted memory and data integrity check functions. These data protection features prevent data leaks and tampering in data centers, and protect customer data securely. Alright, now let's take a look at the impact that Google Axion will have. Okay, first up, let's talk about the impact on Google Cloud Platform, or GCP for short. The introduction of Axion is likely to have a significant impact on GCP. First off, it's bias about how Axion will be used in GCP services. We can expect Axion to be utilized across various GCP services, For example, services like Compute Engine, Cloud SQL, and BigQuery might offer instances powered by Axion. This will allow GCP customers to enjoy higher performance and cost efficiency. Also, Google can differentiate itself from other companies by optimizing Axion for its own services. Next, there's the improvement in GCP's performance. By introducing Axion into GCP's infrastructure, we can expect a significant boost in the performance of cloud services. Especially in computationally intensive workloads like large-scale data processing and machine learning, the effects will be quite noticeable, I'd say. And then, there's the cost reduction for GCP. Axion's power-saving capabilities are also expected to reduce GCP's operating costs. Reducing power consumption in data centers will not only lower electricity bills, but also lead to a reduction in cooling costs. Furthermore, it's about expanding GCP services. With the arrival of Axion, GCP will be able to offer a wider variety of services. For instance, they could offer high-performance instances tailored for specific workloads, or instances that are available at a lower cost. And then, there are the benefits for customers. GCP customers can enjoy two benefits by using instances powered by Axion: cost reduction and improved performance. Axion is very power efficient, so it can reduce operating costs. Also, it can significantly outperform existing CPUs in certain workloads, which can improve application execution speed. Okay, next, let's take a look at the impact on the data center industry. The emergence of Axion is expected to have a significant impact on the entire data center industry. First, it's about promoting power saving. Axion's power-saving performance could promote power saving across the entire data center industry. Data center power consumption is a major global issue, and the emergence of power-saving CPUs like Axion is expected to contribute to solving this problem. Next, there's the spread of ARM-based CPUs. Google's adoption of ARM-based CPUs could influence other data center operators. In the future, the adoption of ARM-based CPUs could accelerate, and ARM's share in the data center CPU market could expand. And then, there's the intensification of competition. The emergence of Axion could intensify competition in the data center CPU market. Existing CPU manufacturers like Intel and AMD will need to develop higher performance, more power-efficient CPUs to compete with the rise of ARM-based CPUs. From the perspective of the future of data centers, the emergence of Google Axion could accelerate the spread of ARM-based CPUs in data centers. With the full-scale entry of the Arm architecture into the server CPU market, which has been dominated by the x86 architecture, competition is expected to intensify, and more high-performance and efficient CPUs are expected to be developed. This will transform data centers into more flexible and sustainable infrastructure, Also, in terms of contributing to sustainable data centers, ARM-based CPUs are very power efficient, so they can reduce data center power consumption and lower environmental impact. The introduction of Google Axion is considered to greatly contribute to the realization of sustainable data centers. Finally, let's take a look at Axion's position in Google's strategy. Axion plays a crucial role in Google's strategy. First, it's about strengthening their in-house chip development strategy. Google is strengthening its in-house chip development strategy through the development of Axion. This will allow them to deepen the integration of hardware and software and provide more efficient and high-performance cloud services. Next, there's the integration of hardware and software. Axion is designed to work closely with Google's software. This will allow for software optimization and maximize hardware performance. And then, there's the differentiation of cloud services. Axion plays a key role in GCP's differentiation strategy. GCP instances powered by Axion will be able to offer higher performance and efficiency compared to instances from other cloud providers. Alright, from here on out, let's take a look at the impact on Arm's performance. Well, first off, let's talk about the positive impacts. The emergence of Axion is likely to have a positive impact on Arm's performance, First, it's about the increased adoption of the Arm architecture. Google's adoption of the Arm architecture with Axion will, lead to a wider adoption of the Arm architecture. Other data center operators are also more likely to consider adopting Arm-based CPUs, which, should lead to an expansion of Arm's market share. Next up, it's the increase in licensing revenue. Arm generates revenue by licensing the design blueprints for its CPU cores. The spread of Arm-based CPUs like Axion will lead to an increase in Arm's licensing revenue. And then, there's the revitalization of the Arm ecosystem. The increased adoption of Arm-based CPUs can also be expected to revitalize the Arm ecosystem. More developers will start developing software targeting the Arm architecture, which will, make the Arm platform more attractive. From the perspective of the overall impact on the industry, the emergence of Google Axion could intensify competition in the CPU market. With the Arm architecture making a full-scale entry into a market that has been dominated by the x86 architecture, existing CPU manufacturers like Intel and AMD will be forced to adopt new strategies. This intensification of competition is expected to spur technological innovation and lead to the development of more high-performance and efficient CPUs. Also, in terms of the further evolution of the Arm architecture, the emergence of Google Axion could promote further evolution of the Arm architecture. By feeding back the know-how gained from the development of Axion into the development of the Arm architecture, it expected that more high-performance and efficient Arm-based CPUs will be developed. As a result, the Arm architecture will increase its presence not only in the server market, but also in other fields. Next, let's take a look at the negative impacts, if there are any, that is. On the other hand, the emergence of Axion could also have a negative impact on Arm, you see. First, there's the intensification of competition. The spread of Arm-based CPUs could intensify competition for Arm. Competition with other Arm-based CPU manufacturers could intensify, and there's a possibility of price competition. Next, there's the risk of dependence on specific customers. Relying on a huge customer like Google could also pose a risk for Arm. To avoid the risk of performance being swayed by the trends of specific customers, Arm needs to diversify its customer base. So next, let's take a look at Arm's future strategies. Based on the emergence of Axion, it's thought that Arm will strengthen its response to custom chips, focus on the data center market, and strengthen its collaboration with ecosystem partners going forward. First, it's about responding to custom chips. Arm needs to provide more flexible licensing models to meet the needs of customers like Google, who are developing their own custom chips. Also, it will be necessary to strengthen technical support to assist in the development of custom chips. Next, it's about focusing on the data center market. Arm needs to see the data center market as an important growth market and strengthen its focus on this market. The development of CPU cores for data centers and the provision of technical support specialized for data centers will be important. And then, there's collaboration with ecosystem partners. Arm needs to strengthen its collaboration with ecosystem partners and promote the spread of the Arm architecture. Cooperation with a wide range of partners, such as software developers and hardware manufacturers, is essential. Alright, from here on out, let's take a look at the future outlook. Okay, so first up, let's talk about the future developments of Google Axion. Google is likely working on the next generation of Axion, We can expect even better performance and power efficiency with the next version. Also, Axion might be used not just in GCP, but in other Google services too, like we could see it in Android devices or AI accelerators, a pretty wide range of applications. Furthermore, Google might even sell Axion to external customers, If that happens, it could really boost Arm's share in the data center CPU market. Google hasn't released their roadmap for Axion, but I think they keep developing it, and we see even more powerful and efficient CPUs from them. Next, let's talk about the trends in the ARM-based CPU market. The share of ARM in data centers is expected to grow a lot in the next few years. The arrival of high-performance ARM-based CPUs like Google Axion will definitely speed up this trend. Other cloud providers are also likely considering adopting ARM-based CPUs. Following AWS Graviton, we might see Microsoft Azure and Alibaba Cloud looking into ARM-based CPUs too. The ARM architecture will probably keep evolving. We see more powerful and energy-efficient CPU cores, and ARM will be used in a wide range of areas, not just data centers, but also mobile and IoT devices. And now let's talk about Google's hardware strategy. Google is strengthening its hardware strategy through the development of Axion. Google will likely keep pushing their philosophy of integrating software and hardware to get the best performance, Google's hardware strategy has the potential to really change the future of cloud computing. Alright, so finally let's wrap things up. Google Axion isn't just a new CPU, it's like the culmination of Google strategic decision-making. Axion, which uses the ARM architecture and is custom designed, has the potential to significantly change how data centers operate and, the future of cloud computing. The arrival of Axion will intensify competition in the CPU market and, encourage further evolution of the ARM architecture. Also, it's expected to reduce power consumption in data centers and contribute to the realization of a sustainable society, I think. The emergence of Axion will also have a significant impact on ARM's performance, Positive impacts are expected, such as the expansion of ARM architecture adoption, increased licensing revenue, and the activation of the ARM ecosystem. But we also need to consider the risks of increased competition and dependence on specific customers. In the future, the ARM-based CPU market is expected to grow significantly, especially in data centers. We can't take our eyes off the future developments of Google Axion, the trends of other cloud providers, and the evolution of the ARM architecture, Google Axion will have a major impact on the entire tech industry. Let's keep an eye on future trends and watch its evolution. Okay, so that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching until the end. If you felt this video was even a little bit helpful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. In the comments section, please let me know your thoughts on today's video or any themes you'd like me to cover in future videos, okay? Alright then, see you in the next video.